Welcome back, everyone. Hope you grabbed that glass of water while you were taking your break. Actually, I have a book here with me. It's the Maximize Living Nutrition Plan. So this will be available in my office when I get it up, and I actually have some good news about that. Everything is going just as planned. It looks like sometime in July, depending on all the red tape, the office doors will be open to Summit Upper Cervical Center in Webster Groves. So I had some very, very good news today. Spent most of my morning actually getting some things ironed out with the lease and the financing and all sorts of stuff. So things are full steam ahead to have my office open in Webster Groves ASAP. So we're looking sometime early July with a grand opening, probably early August. So it's a great way to not only see these 5 essentials every single day, but actually, to live it. I mean, I'll be talking about it all day, every day, and helping people become healthy. How about that? I was going to say become no longer sick, but to become healthy. I'm more, like I said, I want to be proactive about it rather than I want to do something to become healthy rather than become not sick. So people are becoming healthier every single day, and I've been adjusting some people and talking these 5 essentials with some people here lately. And actually, I wanted to touch base on with everyone just kind of what I've seen lately. So every single week, especially once I get the doors open, we'll have like an interesting case of the week. And this week it was a guy about between 35 and 40, and he's beat his body up for years now. Pretty similar to Bob, one of the partners here at iWatch Radio. If you remember a few weeks back when he was on, he was into construction. Beat himself up, carrying 200 pounds at a time, concrete, both one shoulder, totally jarring his body one way compared to the other. So this guy that I adjusted the other day for the first time has had migraines every single day for the last 4 or 5 years. And it's all based on how he's beat his body up. So he was a Marine, he was a general laborer, and he actually fought in the MMA, UFC, amateur ranks for a while too. So constantly his spine was taking a beating, and he knows without a doubt that everything that he's experiencing now, his lack of being able to sleep because he's always in pain, his migraines on a daily basis, which according to him would cripple some people, but he has to make it through every day because he knows that he has kids to feed and he has to put food on the table for his kids that he has to get through every single day. And actually, by him getting adjusted and living these 5 essentials, his headaches and his pains and his tribulations are going to go away. So there's no doubt it's going to get better. If the body takes time to degenerate into something, it's going to regenerate into it sooner or later too. It just takes a little bit of time. And that's what a lot of people don't want. That's what a lot of people don't think they have is time. But actually, like I said, if it takes time to break down, it's going to take time to regenerate. And a lot of people want that quick fix. A lot of people want that quick meal. They don't want to spend the hour getting the good, healthy food ready. So they want that quick fix. But this guy, like I said, he's probably mid to late 30s, and his headaches and migraines are going to go away, there's no doubt, because it's all nerve related and all spine related. As an upper cervical maximized living doctor, not only am I a nerve doctor, actually I am a nerve doctor, but I'm not a spine doctor. The spine is what really holds the nerves and the spinal cord and brain in place. So therefore, I'm more worried about the nerves inside the spine than I am the actual spine. So when I get those nerves working properly, it's going to make the spine go whichever way it needs to go in order to be able to get that brain-to-body communication working properly. So that's just one of the more interesting cases I saw this past week of a new case that I saw, and I wanted to share it with everyone out there just in case you might know someone experiencing those same things. For years, he went to a doctor who was worried about his pain and only his pain. And he was only worried about that pain for the short term, knowing that if he could get rid of it for the short term and it would come back, he would have to keep coming back for the duration of his life. But what he's doing now is it's almost a preventative thing to make sure that A, it doesn't get any worse, and B, that it does get better with time, because he's going to put the proper steps in, he's going to put the time in, he's going to put the 110% energy into getting better, so therefore his life, his migraines, his ability to sleep, his pain every day, it's all going to get better. So if you do know someone out there, there is hope for you. I just want to let you know. I know a lot of people out there think they've exhausted all measures, and if you haven't been to an upper cervical or maximized living doctor, that you haven't really explored all options. And the last thing we ever want to see anyone do is have to get surgery, because if you're familiar with how a spinal surgery works, there's no going back. What they do is they come in and they shave off a lot of the vertebra and actually put a plate on the back of it to where those vertebrae don't move at all now. So there's no moving. There's a steel plate on the back of those vertebrae. So there, and each and every single vertebra are made to be a movable object compared to the other. So they're supposed to sit on one another and able to move back and forth, if that makes sense. But when you put a steel plate on the back of there, there's no moving. So what that does is it actually deteriorates those nerves and deteriorates that spinal cord at a much faster rate. And actually there's about an 85% chance that in 5 years from the day of your surgery, the pain will either be back just as bad as it was that day you had the surgery, or even worse. So could you imagine of going and getting all that metal put in your system, not even just in your system, but on your spine, for crying out loud, and then 5 years later having it be just as bad or even worse? So I would exhaust all other measures prior to that. And if you have an upper cervical doctor or maximized living doctor that isn't taking x-rays, he doesn't really know what's going on with your spine. So make sure that you are getting the x-rays. That way people can see, the doctors can see exactly what is going on with your spine. Because if you can't see it, you're really guessing. And if I'm guessing at what I'm doing there, you're definitely not going to get the best results that you possibly can. So if you do know someone out there with the migraines, can't sleep because of the pain, been in numerous car accidents like this guy, I don't think I mentioned that before. And actually he said the last car accident that he was in, he's been in 3 major accidents. 2 of them he actually had to go to the hospital on, and the last one was the least severe of all, where he didn't have to go to the hospital. But from that last one on, he said he's had migraines every single day. So can you imagine waking up with a headache every single day? I know I wouldn't be able to function like that. There's no way. I'm so used to not having headaches that if I did have a headache every day, I would probably be out of commission, just because I'm not used to it, and I don't know how I would actually be able to function through the day. So there is light at the end of the tunnel out there. So make sure you call your local Maximized Living or upper cervical doctor in your area, and if you can't find one, definitely contact me via email, livingforliferadio@yahoo.com, and I can point you in the right direction for sure, and it definitely get your life back. So onto the diet. Diet is a huge thing, and so many people claim the quick fix, and most people think diet is just about weight, and it's really not. Diet is what fuels every single thing you do, not just from a cellular level, but to an energy daily output level. So it fuels everything we do. I'm going to beat it over the head today. Garbage in is garbage out. No matter how you slice it and dice it, that's exactly the equation of what you eat is what you get out. So this book that I have, the Maximized Living Nutrition Plans, looks right like this. I strongly encourage everyone to get it. It's fairly cheap. It's $25. But I tell you what, there are recipes in here that will not only taste good, but it will put you on it'll get you eating healthy. It'll cut down cravings of sugars and grains, because all these recipes in here are cutting out sugars and grains. And there's even things like bread, there's cookies, there's pizza, I think there's a cheesecake in here. Like, there's so many things that in here that can be made without sugars and grains that you would have no idea, because you're used to just going to the store and getting it, and they make it as cheaply as possible. Sure, it tastes good, but it's not that healthy for you. So like I said, it's the Maximized Living Nutrition Plans, and these will be for sale in my office, and they're very, very inexpensive at only $25. So not only does it provide you with great info, but it also puts you on a right track of what to eat on a daily basis. And it even has an actual war plan of how you should eat every single day down to each meal. What you should have for breakfast, what you should have your post-breakfast snack, what you should have for lunch, what you should have for your post-lunch snack, what you should have for dinner, and what you should have for that right before bedtime snack. So it breaks it down and gives you a day-by-day and even a week-by-week meal plan of what you should have every single day. So most people think that just because you eat fruits and grains, or fruits and vegetables, that you're healthy. And that's really not true. Because a lot of your fruits, have you ever noticed that people like fruits a lot more than vegetables? That's because of the high sugar in all the fruits. Of course, fruit is good for you, but not all fruit is as good as it could be for you, if that makes sense. So some fruits are better than others. Pretty much all vegetables are going to be good for you, especially your green leafy vegetables. For those that aren't familiar with things like kale, K-A-L-E, it is phenomenal for you. And it's actually one of the best ounce for ounce healthiest things that you could possibly put in your system. And there's great ways to, not too many people can just eat raw kale, but there's great ways to spice it up to where it tastes phenomenal. If you squeeze some lemon on it and put some, most people think salt is bad for you too, but if you get the Celtic salt or the even some sea salts, if you need salt on it, I put pepper on everything, and especially cayenne pepper or red pepper. I put pepper on just about everything, and it makes kale, along with that lemon on there, it makes it taste absolutely amazing. So, like I said, ounce for ounce, that's one of the best things you can do to actually fuel the system. And not only that, but it's also high in calcium. So most people think you get calcium from milk, right? Everyone's told you gotta drink your milk to get calcium and to have strong bones to fight off osteoporosis. That's really not true. So most of your calcium, most of your best sources of calcium are going to be from your green leafy vegetables, your kales, your spinaches, your collard greens, your asparaguses. There's a bunch of other ones out there. So you want to make sure that those are a staple in your diet all day, every day. And just because you have a salad with iceberg lettuce does not mean you're eating healthy. There's very little nutritional evidence or very little nutritional value in those iceberg lettuces. And a lot of people will dress them up with the ranch, and they have 15,000 things of ranch, 15,000 different flavors of ranch now. But you want to make sure that whatever you have dressing on there, I like using balsamic vinegar. Some people don't like it, but for me, it does wonders, and it takes that leafy taste out of it for me. And I load it up with vegetables. I throw like the dried cranberries in there. Also almonds. Almonds is a great nut for you. So almonds, cashews. Make sure those are a staple in your diet as well. So the advanced plan or the healing diet, that I talk about, I would say every week. I don't really touch on it a whole lot, or I haven't yet, but today we're going to start to get into it. It's really a way to cut out all those bad things that you ingest on a daily basis. A lot of people think they eat healthy. If I had a nickel for every time, I actually eat pretty darn healthy. And then you find out they're having microwave dinners and they're having Carl Buddig meat, deli meat. I mean, that's not eating healthy, people. So if you're not getting it from an actual raw food source, when I said it, like free range meat. So I'm going to have a list here. I believe it's localharvest.org. I'm not 100% sure on that. That's just off the top of my head. But it's a list of local meats around here that are antibiotic free, that are hormone free, that are grass fed, which is huge for these cattle and chickens and everything. It's huge for the health of those animals as we eat the meat of those animals. So if you're not eating those free range, antibiotic free, hormone free things, guess what? You're ingesting those antibiotics, those hormones, those different additives to preserve the shelf life of these things. You're ingesting that, and so that's not as healthy as you could possibly be eating. Of course, it's a little more expensive, but your body is going to love you in the long run, and your grandkids are going to love you in the long run, and your family and friends are going to love you in the long run because you're going to be around a lot longer, and your quality of life is going to be a lot better. So, of course, it's a little disheartening that you're going to have to, maybe spend the extra $1 or $2, and that can add up over a week or even a month or a year. But the energy level that you're going to get from what you eat is going to be astronomically different than if